Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Ray Donovan. So in this episode, we had that guy breaking into Ray's house. The guy, I knew he was a little suspicious, the way he was eyeballing Ray at the end of the other episode, and he was eyeballing the cop lady at the beginning of the episode. I was like, who is this guy? What he's doing? He's going to be trouble. When I saw, Bridget leaving the house and his truck was driving by, I was like, okay, he's going to end up, situation's going to happen, and she's going to end up getting kidnapped. It's like, nope, he broke into the house, him and Ray scuffled, and Abby shot him in the head. I was actually scared because Abby was freaking out. She couldn't even get where she's got her gun locked up at. She couldn't even get it open. Shot the dude in the head. Ray and the whole team came together, cleaned the whole place up. And Abby's just like, yo, what's going on? Eventually, Ray told her the truth, which I'm very surprised. It's the first time he's been 100% honest with her, told her about the whole situation, the Armenians, the Russians, Mickey, this whole situation, like how Terry got shot, how he got shot. It's just like, yo, I went there and I killed all of them. And she's like, oh my God, she's crying. Like, she kind of finally sees what Ray does. I mean, this was kind of a true test of what they do, too. Like, basically cleaning it up. Rather than calling the cops, they cleaned it up. What I really liked the fact is that at that night, Connor was like, yo, I'm trying to sleep. And he's like, I'm sorry. Ray was being like, yeah, I'm sorry. We'll keep the noise down here. And he went back upstairs. And then when he came downstairs, Ray was like, yeah, you're not going to school today. He's like, hell yeah, just kind of enjoying it. Because the moment Connor came downstairs, everyone stopped they dropped the body and everything. Everybody's just like, hey, yeah. And then Daryl came downstairs and he saw the blood on the floor. And he was just like, yeah. He knew what the deal was immediately. So I really liked that. Basically locked down the family in a hotel until he could get this whole situation sorted. Now that situation, I really like what the outcome ended up being. It's like, oh, he thought simply that Russian dude he turned in the last episode. It's like, nope, it's not him. It's actually the lady that who offered him the job before, the art lady. Like, she's like, oh, I'm smuggling art. It's like, nope, it's not just art she smuggles. She also smuggles drugs and women. Basically, the operation that the Russian dude was working with, that's actually her operation. So Ray had to be like, okay, I'll pay you for all your lost income. Just give me a week and I'll break him out. So she's kind of like, okay. So, I don't know. And I love the people you don't see as bad guys. It never would have crossed my mind that she was, connected to all this like that. Because the fact is when he got the name, it was like, oh, Jack Weller or something, like Jake Weller or whatever had visited the Russian dude. And I was like, am I supposed to know who that name is? And then it was like, oh, it's the dude who played Nolan from, Revenge. Oh, and then they start talking about it later. I was like, wait, is she behind this? I was like, okay, Ray's gonna go to her. She's not gonna be like, she's gonna be like, I don't know what you're talking about because she doesn't know, misunderstanding or something. Maybe like one of her associates or something, someone she's connected to in business wise did it. It's like, no, she sent them after him. I was like, oh, she's a badass. Like, I've said it countless times before, especially in crime dramas, I love the bad guys you don't, or not just in crime dramas, just storytelling in general. I like the bad guys you don't see coming. And it's like, oh, here's someone that you think it's just kind of like, oh, an innocent person. Yeah, they might do some bad stuff here and there. Like in her case, it's like, oh, I need you to smuggle some art. That's it. It's like, nope. Probably most likely, in my opinion, the main antagonist of the season. So that was kind of interesting. It's kind of like a repeat of last season with, I can't remember his name. It's the guy that Ian McShane played. Is it McShane or just Shane? I don't remember. That big time wealthy guy. Finney, that's it. That's the character. Is it McShane or is it just Shane? It's Ian McShane, right? Or is it Ian Shane? I don't remember, but he played the character Finney. Basically, that guy seemed like, oh, just some rich, powerful blowhard, but it's like, nope, he pushed Ray to do stuff, and he even turned on Ray when the time became more convenient for him. Especially when he got painted into a corner, he was willing to throw Ray under the bus. So I'm kind of like, okay, here's a wealthy criminal lady, and she's going to be a problem. I get the feeling most likely this is going to end with Ray killing her at the end of the season. Or something happening. I don't know. Just calling it right now, just because people who kind of threaten Ray don't always end up well off. I mean, granted, Ray's kind of submitting because he's not trying to cause any more trouble. He just wants his family safe. So, I don't know. It's just that in itself I really liked. We have Abby. I felt so bad for Abby because it's the first time she's ever killed anyone. On top of someone breaking into her house and she killing a guy. she has to also deal with the whole breast cancer thing, and this affects her religiously because she's actually like at the hotel, she's trying to pray and everything. She's almost like, fuck him, he broke into my house, talking to herself. She told Bridget the truth, and Bridget was like, oh my god, like if her dad had done it, it'd be like, oh my god, I can't believe dad's a fucking murderer. But it's also like, no, it's like mom did it. It's like, oh wow, just wait, don't touch me, I just need to be alone right now, mom. So that was kind of interesting, which let's tie back to the beginning part. Let's not skip over the fact is, she's basically laying in bed with Abby's laying in bed with Ray, talking, basically reminiscing, because basically, time's ticking down. Like, she's just so nervous about the whole thing. And so, she wants to, spend as much time with him, talk to him. It's like, oh, our baby girl, she's 18 now. But it's like, she's like, she sees the car and she gets excited because she wants to greet Bridget at the front door, but then when she goes out, she sees her having sex. And who the fuck is she having sex with? The freaking teacher from last season. I was like, wow. And then her and Abby and Bridget go at it. She even starts mocking her mom's accent and talking to her in a very obscene manner, basically talking about, oh, his hard dick and stuff like that, but in her mom's accent, just like, just shut up. It's just like, wow, she really, like, each season she gets more and more rebellious, and I find that very interesting. I did like the fact is that when Ray and then went to pick her up, she's kind of like asking questions, okay, why is the dog in the car? She's like, okay, I'll go with you. Like, because she's like, I'm an adult, you said things would be different this time. Like, things are very different because Ray didn't beat the living shit out of him like he did last season. Because he was just like, I did like the fact that when he was in bed with Abby, he was like, closed his eyes, and she's like, are you fucking counting to 10? He's just like, she's 18 years old, she can make her own choices now. So you can tell he's not 100% okay with it, but he's trying his best, to continue the progress he's made in changing. So that was very interesting. So when it's all said and done, that's going to be a relationship we're going to be seeing. And I also love the whole conversation with Connor about, like, Connor's like asking Avi, yo, can I get your gun? It's like, what? Basically, he's like, I want to be a badass like dad, because Avi's asking all these questions, like, what do you want to do with your life, basically? He's like, I want to be a gangster like my dad. It's like, your dad's not a gangster. Basically saying everything he's doing is so that you don't have to end up doing the stuff he does to make money, or the fact is, make a living that way, or, end up following in his footsteps or your grandfather's footsteps. He's just like, you should, study and go into hedge fund. And he's like, I'm not going into gardening. And both Avi and Rachel looked at him like, you fucking idiot. Connor, in my opinion, has literally gotten dumber and dumber with every season. It's like, I can't believe he said that. And Avi was like, hedge fund, meaning money. That, I felt so bad for him. He's like, that's Skrilla, yo. Just because, like, that's how Connor is talking now. It's like I guess because in his mind, he's like, yo, I've been hanging around Daryl so much, so now I can talk like that. It's like, shut up, Connor, you're an idiot. And speaking of Daryl, I did like the fact is him and Terry kind of got locked and loaded at, holding their grounds at the gym, just trying to get ready for the situation, even though Ray told him to stay at the damn hotel. Neither one of them wanted to listen. And I love it when Ray hung up the phone. He's like, oh, freaking idiots. And side note, and because I'm thinking about that scene, I did forget the cop lady ended up dead. Had her freaking throat slit. That was crazy. The moment he was knocking on her door and she didn't answer, I was like, crap, she's dead. And part of me was like, at first I was kind of like, oh man, Ray's checking up on her, he's concerned. But then I was like, no, he's not concerned, he's just trying to get an answer. He's probably trying to get protection for his family, it's like to let her know what the situation is. But it's like too late, they already got her. I actually felt really bad about it because we actually got to know a little bit more about her, found out about her daughter dying and stuff like that. So I really felt bad for her. But getting back to it, Terry and Daryl are sitting there. Terry's referencing Western movies. It's like, you've never watched a Western before. And then Daryl's just kind of like, you guys don't treat me like a brother. Am I like an actual brother to you? He's like, yeah. It's like, I don't think I actually am a brother to you. Like, you don't treat me like one. Is it, because I basically said because he's black, in fact is he has a different mother. He's like, I grew up in Palm Springs, with the whitest of white people. And he's like, I always thought I was white. And then Terry was just like, wait, do you want to be white? He's like, hell no. Then he's like, well, what's the damn problem then? Not really understanding. Because Daryl has always been kind of an outsider in the family, but granted, that was mainly for Ray and Terry, it wasn't the easiest accepting him. I don't know, Bunchy might have accepted him. I don't know. I guess in his mind, he's just like, it's the hardest thing because it's like, it's acknowledging what their dad did. Basically, while their mom was dying, he was off having an affair and essentially starting another family. So, that's a lot of baggage to kind of just look over. Because we haven't seen Ray kind of be 100% okay with Daryl. But Terry, I feel like out of anybody, Terry is the most okay with him. Like I said, Bunchy maybe, but we still don't really know how he feels about it. But ended up pulling the gun on that kid. He was like Damien Kid from last episode, the one Terry invited to the gym. He beat the crap out of he did a quick punch on Daryl, ended up making his nose bleed. What I also, speaking, since I was talking about Bunchy earlier, I really like the fact is that the whole him and Teresa thing, it's just like Teresa's upset. He's just like, oh, we can move here. And then Bunchy's like, yeah, but I was like, I don't know if I want to. There's a whole bunch of Mexicans up there. And she's like, really? Did you just fucking say that? It's like, Bunchy's so fucking insensitive. He loves Teresa and everything. You could tell, but it's just like, he's such an idiot and he's insensitive. She's like, really? And I'm stuck here, but it's in this, bullshit Irish war. So it's like, up here you're talking about moving somewhere because there's too many Mexicans. Like, really, get over yourself. Basically ended up getting mad at him, talking about the fact is telling her to have sex with that dildo. And she's like, maybe I should put it on and fuck you. And he's like, fuck you. She's like, say it again, basically getting him riled up. And then she's like, that's how my dick gets hard. That's how, she gets her man's dick hard. She's like, yeah, that's my dick that's getting hard. It's just like, God, it's like that relationship. I don't know whether, I can't tell if that's a stable relationship or not. I feel like a normal relationship doesn't work like that. I mean, maybe that's just me. Maybe it works for them, but I'm worried that relationship is going to implode. Because let's face it, Ray did tell him, like, maybe you shouldn't be jumping right into this relationship. Jump right into it. So things aren't as easy as he thought it'd be. But they ended up having sex. And then partway through them having sex, she started having contractions. And by the end of the episode, their baby was born. So that was kind of pretty neat, but still. Pretty amazing. What we also got in this other side of this episode was Mickey coming up with the whole scheme to steal the horseshoe with the $4 million. Sadly, his two partners screwed him over. The guy he was working with before, as well as Pinky. I love the whole explanation of why he's called Pinky. Basically, him, his father, and his father's father was called Pinky because basically their pinky toes went in weird or bend in weird directions. So. But basically ended up getting cheated by them. They basically ran off of his money. Now, Mickey was basically going to take the money. He was going to take that singer at the club and basically go to Boston with her. Even told her his real name. But by the end of it, like I said, he got ripped off and everything. And she's like, oh, basically when it's all said and done, crooked trees are what end up staying. Like, basically those two, essentially I think she was trying to get at a point that those two idiots are going to get hunted down because they're the ones who stole the money. So, well, they're still looking for Mickey as well, but basically he was leaving town and he told her goodbye, but she's like, basically, don't leave me behind. But he did, and you kind of see like a look in her eye like, okay, I got your ass type of thing. I don't know whether she's going to come back, whether that's going to come back to bite him in the ass or not. I get the feeling maybe it will. Like, she's going to come back and screw him over because they ain't the scorn of a woman, it's just, that's one of the most deadliest things out there. So I feel like maybe she's going to try and screw him over. Maybe the guy he tried to steal from, well, successfully stole from, but then in turn got stole from himself. Maybe that guy's going to end up chasing after him. So. I mean, he is leaving town, so he, like I brought up last time, I was like, oh yeah, he's totally going to go back home, and it's going to screw everything up for everybody. So I'm very interested to see, like, is that exactly where he's going back? Not necessarily Boston, I mean back with Ray and them, because it's like that's the only place he's got left now that that whole thing blew up in his face. What else did I want to talk about? I mean, well, yeah, okay, I remember now. What I was going to talk about the fact is that Abby finally told Ray the truth about, the breast cancer, but she's saying, like, it's at stage 0, so it's not known whether or not it really is something or not. Whether it is or not, like, basically she's saying that she's not going to go through any treatments or anything. I guess partly because there's multiple reasons. For one, she just found out that Ray basically took all their money to pay back those people, so they pay those people off to leave them alone. Granted, Ray still has to break the Russian dude out in a week. I don't know whether they really care enough for him to get out. That's probably still part of it, but it makes you wonder how Ray's going to pull that off. Obviously, he's pulled off probably plenty of stuff kind of along those lines in the past, but nevertheless, he has to do that. But that's probably one thing. I mean, I doubt it's the main reason, obviously, but it's like she's basically saying, I don't want to go through like radiation treatments and stuff like that for something that might not even like be an issue. It's like it's not really anything right now, and who's to say it will ever really be anything. Basically, she's saying, you took care of this situation. This is something I have to be the one to take care of. So I don't know. I'm very curious. Will that turn into something else? Like, I feel like a situation like that, that's what the other aspect of it was, a mastectomy to cut her boobs. I don't, is that what a mastectomy is? Or is a mastectomy something else? Nevertheless, like, she doesn't want her boobs cut, nor does she want to go through treatment, because she's like, it's not going to be anything. I feel like that's not going to be the case for them. Just with the way, like, that family's luck is, it's going to roll around, it's going to turn into something else. It's bound to, just unfortunately for them. So the only one who currently knows in the family is Ray. And you did see them celebrating Bridget's birthday, but she was just kind of nonchalant about just kind of looking down. Because I guess after everything that went down, knowing what went down, Connor's the most excited about it. He's just like, fuck yeah, dude died in our house. That's freaking awesome. Our dad is totally gangster. Like, our freaking mom killed somebody. That's so cool. Bridget's the only one who's just kind of like so upset about it. I mean, granted, she's right to be. Connor's the one that's kind of abnormal in this situation. So, I don't know. I guess he's taken a little bit more after his dad than you would think, because Ray is kind of numb to these situations. It's just like, oh crap, I gotta clean this up. So Bridget and Abby, the only ones that are kind of like, oh crap, and kind of just like, this is just too much. We even heard Bridget talk about the fact that she's not going to have children, which upsets her mom on multiple levels. I can assume it's because because she's like, basically, you don't want to have kids because you don't want them turning out like me. Because basically, Bridget's like, I don't want to pass on our effed up genes to anybody. That's one reason why she doesn't want to have kids. And I did not realize there was that much of an age difference between her and that teacher. She's 18, but she said there was like a 16-year difference between them. He's like 30-something. I was like, holy crap. I thought he was maybe mid-20s. I didn't realize it was that big of an age gap. Yes, it's a consensual relationship because she's 18. Granted, it still doesn't change the fact that he is, her mom has a right to be disgusted because he did, have a bit of a relationship with her when she was 17. Granted, nothing happened, but stuff happened. I mean, they made out and everything, came close to having sex, but this is their first time having sex. So, I mean, at the moment she said, like, we weren't fucking, I was like, the moment that conversation happened to begin, I was like, oh yeah, I even said it in quotes. You were making love. It's like, for one, your mom has rights to be upset because not only were you having sex, you did it in front of her, and not just in front of her, in front of their freaking house in a freaking car. So she's allowed to be upset in that regard, just being like, oh, I'm an adult, I can make my own decisions. Then at the very least, make an adult decision and not have sex in public. Have sex in a hotel like a normal person, not out in front of your parents' house in their car. Like, I don't know, but hey, that's just me. That's just my opinion. I'm not trying to, like, shame you and just like, oh, you're a terrible person or anything for having sex in a car in front of your parents' house or anything like that. I'm just saying you could have, I don't think that's romantic, but maybe that's just me. She was saying it was romantic. I don't agree, but what do I know, right? But yeah, just all around, very good episode. I am curious to see where everyone stands next episode, especially Bridget now knowing what her mom did, what happened in the house. Will they even really be able to go back to the house? Even though the situation's cleared up for now, it's like, will they go back to the house? Like, especially Abby, knowing what she's done there, like, she'll probably relive it every time she goes back in the house. I mean, she might not be able to ever really sleep again because it's just like she's worried about the next person busting into the house. Because this is kind of her first time really finding out just what Ray does. I mean, granted, she knew to a degree because she knew about Ray's work, like how he will fix stuff for athletes and stuff like that in the past. But it's like the first time, like, something brutal happened, like, in front of them in their house. So. But like I said, very interested to see where everything goes next week. But that's really all I want to talk about. To the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.